Coffee lovers everywhere know Starbucks as a global powerhouse boasting nearly 36,000 locations where you can indulge in some of the most irresistible brews. But have you ever pondered the tale behind their iconic logo? What's the fascinating story of the Starbucks logo evolution? Let's dive into its origins and uncover the truth behind this enigmatic imagery. Is it a mermaid, a siren, or something even more mysterious like Dagon or Lilith? Stick around as we unravel the secrets behind Starbucks' emblematic symbol. The name Starbucks is actually derived from Herman Melville's novel Moby Dick. In the book, Starbuck is the first mate of Captain Ahab and works on the ship called the Pequod. The three initial partners of Starbucks, Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Bowker, originally planned to name their coffee company Pequod, but they thought it was too obscure. Starbuck in the novel is described as a Quaker and a virtuous man, though rather simple. This description is rather humorous when considering the meaning behind the Starbucks logo. The image depicts a siren, a half-bird, half-woman with two tails, which has raised many questions and discussions. Some people believe it is related to ancient goddesses, such as Isis, or to the fish deity of Lovecraftian mythos. Contrary to these conceptions, the logo has nautical themes associated with the company's background in Seattle, a seaport. When Starbucks was established in 1971, the aim was to emulate the maritime spirit of early coffee traders. The team searched for an old maritime feel by going through old maritime books and chose a logo of a two-tailed mermaid or siren from a supposed 16th century Norse woodcut, with the original name being Starbucks Coffee, Tea, and Spice. Starbucks co-founder Howard Schultz described the story in his 1997 book, Pour Your Heart Into It. Terry Heckler was looking for a siren in these old marine books to find a siren as beautiful as coffee. However, there's a problem with this story. There are no 16th century Norse woodcuts. The Norse period ended around 1300, and woodcuts were not introduced in Europe until the 1400s. Thus, finding a Norse wooden carving from the 16th century would be as unlikely as coming across a photograph of Leonardo da Vinci or a selfie of Abraham Lincoln. So, what's the real origin of the logo? It's likely the founders forgot where they found the image, despite their careful brand management. Michael Krokowski of Dead Programmers Cafe was one of the first to solve the mystery of the Starbucks logo. In his piece, How the Starbucks Siren Became Less Naughty, Krokowski points out that the original Starbucks logo looks a lot like an image from J.E. Sirlett's Dictionary of Symbols, just published in English in 1962. The crowned mermaid with her double fishtail seems quite provocative. The bare-chested mermaid appears to be intentionally seductive. The Starbucks logo has gone through several changes over the years, moving from the original design to a more simplified and abstract version. Starbucks appears to have recognized that their original logo wasn't exactly family-friendly, especially as the company became more corporate. The logo evolved to show the mermaid in a more modest way, covering up her chest and focusing more on her face. According to the Symbol Dictionary, the twin-tailed mermaid is Melusine, a siren with a serpent-like lower body, who also symbolizes alchemy. The legend of Melusine is deeply rooted in French history, dating back to the days of Charlemagne. Historical figures like Richard the Lionheart have even boasted about their devilish heritage, claiming descent from Melusine. Melusine was the daughter of Priscina, a water fairy, and King Elinus. She wasn't born a mermaid, but was cursed by her mother as punishment for her actions toward her father. Priscina had met King Elinus at the Fontaine de la Soif, or Fountain of Thirst, and fell in love. She agreed to marry him on one condition: he must never enter her chambers during or just after childbirth. Soon after, Priscina gave birth to 3 daughters. King Elinus, driven by curiosity, broke his promise. Grief-stricken, Priscina fled with her daughters to the hidden island of Cephalonia. Years later, Priscina took her daughters to view their father's kingdom and revealed his broken promise. Melusine sought revenge, capturing her father and imprisoning him in a mountain. Priscina, enraged by Melusine's betrayal, cursed her daughter, causing her lower half to transform into a fish or serpent every Sabbath. Melusine grew up in the forest living alone. One day, Raymondin, either the Count of Anjou or the Duke of Aquitaine, depending on the version, came into the forest. He was distressed over accidentally killing his uncle and sought Melusine's advice. She promised him wealth and power in exchange for marriage, which he quickly accepted. However, Melusine made a condition. Raymondin must never see her in her chambers on the Sabbath. They married and Melusine kept her promise, leading to the rapid growth of Raymondin's kingdom. After many years and 10 mostly deformed children attend mass. Eventually, driven by jealousy, he peeked into Melusine's chambers and saw her bathing. Starbuck's Melusine looks beautiful from the waist up, but from the waist down, her fish or serpent tails are thrashing around in the water. It's quite a sight. Raymondin kept what he had seen a secret for a while, trying to ignore it. But when their kids started causing trouble, like when little Geoffrey burned down churches, Raymondin couldn't ignore his doubts anymore. He accused Melusine of being a false serpent. Melusine was heartbroken, not just by accusation, but because Raymondin broke his promise. In her anger, she turned into a dragon and flew away. For generations, people said Melusine would visit her children at night in human form. Mostly, though, when she appeared, it was a bad omen. If you saw her flying and crying like a banshee, it meant that death was coming. Melusine, the twin-tailed mermaid, appears prominently in the mosaic floor of Otranto Cathedral. This ancient artwork, featuring scenes from Eden, the Tree of Life, and the Inferno, is notable for its mix of symbols from various cultures and religions. This brings us to Lilith, often linked with demonic figures and shown as a seductive, baby-stealing entity in old text. Could the Starbucks logo looking like a crowned mermaid with twin tails actually be connected to Lilith or the fish god Dagon? Dagon, worshipped by the Philistines and usually shown as a male fish deity, does not match the Starbucks logo female figure. So, the link to Dagon seems unlikely. Starbucks logo might have elements resembling the Baphomet, a goat-headed figure linked to satanic worship and the Knights Templar. While some see a connection between the Starbucks logo and Baphomet, it's likely just a coincidence. Starbucks has had other controversial designs, like their 2007 campaign with provocative statements on their cups, suggesting their branding choices are often intentional and well-planned. If you want a good laugh, maybe ask the barista at Starbucks why they work for a firm whose emblem includes a demon the next time you grab your double macchiato. And be sure to come back here and leave a comment on the video with how the Starbucks employee responded. We can't wait to read your comments.